Hello and welcome to ACAD System free online course. For this session, we will take a look at the introduction of the Navisworks. So currently I'm using Navisworks Manage 2025. So this will be the current interface. To start, I can click New from here and then you will find the interface for the Navisworks. So the first tab that I will find from here is the Home tab. So this will be the common things for you to work with. So this will be the place where you input the files and manage how you will see file itself. The next step, we have the viewpoint. So this one is basically allowing you to capture the view of the models and allow you to navigate. We also have the review tab from here. For this one, allow you to do some measurement for the models and do some markups. Then we have the animations, allow you to do recording of animation of movement. For the view here is basically allow you to manage your view and so on. So let's take a look back at the home from here. So for those who don't know what the Navisworks is for, it's actually not a 3D modeling software, but rather than a 3D collaboration software. But you can also include a 2D models inside here as well. So let's say if you have model created from the inventor, one created from the SketchUp, from the Revit, and so on, and then you want to combine them together. So that is where the Navisworks is actually used for. So to start input the files, so there are two ways. One is that you can click open from here, or you can also append the model from here. So the difference between these two is that the open from here is only for you to open the current file. Currently, I'm using this ice stadium from here. So if I open a new file, environment DOM, it will turn off the previous files and it will open up the new file instead. However, if I would like to collaborate between two files, I would like to combine them together inside of this Navisworks. So that is where I can use a pen to add more files inside. So let's say I'm using a pen and I would like to add the environment DOM. Oh, sorry, I would like to include the iStudent from here. And then I can basically just use it to do a comparison between these two models from here. But currently I don't need to use this one. Let me just hide this one first. Right. So currently I'm using the file which is already a Navisworks file. Let's say if I would like to add the non-Navisworks file, let me just close this one first. Click new step. And I can start to open the file. And currently I would like to use the DWG file. Let's say this gatehouse from here. So I can open this DWG files. And currently what you see previously is the loading. So what it does is actually it's converting this DWG file into a catch file. Right, so if I open up again, then you should be able to see the Navisworks file, right, which is Navisworks catch file actually over here. So what it does is actually create a temporary files and you're actually using this file to view this 3D model. So let's take a look what are the files that you can input. So if I click at the open, I can take a look at the all file from here. If I drop down, so I have quite a number of files that I can import. So I have the FBX files, DWF, DWG. So maybe I want to add SolidWorks files or maybe a Revit files. Right? So everything can be found from here. But more specifically, if I take a look at the top here, we actually have three different Navisworks files, right? And the one that we have taken a look previously is the Navisworks catch file. So the Navisworks catch file is basically a temporary file created when you add non-Navisworks file inside, right? Such as the DWG file here. So when you have include a file inside, and then you want to save it, So if I go ahead and save as, you will have two different files here, right? So basically, the catch file is basically just a temporary file. But once you have done with your model and you want to save this Navisworks file, you have two options here, which is NWD and NWF. So the difference between these two, the NWD is the stand for Navisworks document, while the NWF is actually stand for Navisworks file. So the Navisworks document, what it does is that it includes all of the file that you have added into this Navisworks, and it will stay inside of this document, and it will become one large Navisworks file. While the NWF is actually stand for Navisworks file. So the difference here is that if you use NWF, everything, the file that you include inside of this Navisworks, and once you save as NWF, the file itself is not currently inside of this Navisworks, but the file is actually linked from the outside file, right? So that is the difference between NWD and NWF. So one example here, if I take a look at the library, so let's say if I have the NWF file from here, and then I have three different files that add inside of this library. So this file here, if I delete these three files, and later on if I open this NWF, I will find that file missing because it's actually linked. So if the link file is missing, I will not be able to see the file inside the Navisworks file. But compared to the NWD, so if I delete the original file, NWD file, you should still be able to see the file which is inside of this file. So that is the difference between NWF and the NWD. So now that we already add the files, so what are the things that we can do from here? So we can also adjust the settings. So there are two settings. If you right click, you have the file options. You also have the global options. So the file options is basically for the current file that you currently open. If I open different files, so that option settings will only apply to that file. Right, so this is the file options. I can take a look at the orientations, maybe change the speed. So currently the frame rate is 6. Maybe I would like to make it smooth for the movements. I can change into, let's say, the speed to 30 FPS per second, so it will become much better. I can also change the lighting from here and so on. So if I go ahead and click OK, so the movement should be much smoother. But that is the setting will be applied for this file only. So the other option is for global options. Basically, this is the Navisworks settings. So if I take a look at the global options, so anything that I save here will be applied to all the files. So some of the settings I can go and check from here. Maybe I want to change the settings for the general, or maybe I would like to adjust the setting for the interface. Maybe I would like to change the units, maybe from meters to feet or inch. Maybe I would like to change the selection. So if I select something from here, the selection will be blue color. Maybe I would like to see red color instead. I can just change from here and it will change based on how I would like to select that file. Right, and then you also have several other settings from here that you can select. But that is basically covered for the Navisworks introductions. So let's conclude the lesson for these introductions of the Navisworks Manage.